So we're talking about creating with iMovie, and it's a really great way to bring your ideas to life with video. I am our K-8 STEAM integrator at the school. I'm also a school lead for the MIT collaboration. So just a little background, I've done a lot of creating, but also a lot of thinking about how can I use technology in a meaningful way to enhance my students' work, but also my own. As a reminder, iMovie is everywhere. It's on your MacBook, your iPad, it's on your phone. I've started 2 devices that I think makes the most sense for where you might use it. And as far as choosing between the 2, I would say just pick the device that you spend more of your time on. So if you're a laptop person, create there. If you're an iPad person, create there. And they're both going to have very similar functionalities. So when I think about creating as a teacher, I think we ask our students to create so much. We put that on them a lot, and I only think it's fair for us to dip our toes in. And I want to remind you that practice makes progress. You just have to get started, and the more you practice with iMovie and making movies or videos of your own, you're going to improve. Regarding student applications, I think that probably everyone has included a video as a choice for a project assessment or something that your students can do. And you may have also gone down the road of practicing new techniques, like maybe you've brought in green screen or something else to enhance that video creation. But something that I want to sell you on today is your teacher applications. So there's a lot that you can do with iMovie to enhance your practice. Some examples for myself, I've left directions, video directions for students when I know a substitute is going to be there. That's really great because the lesson is delivered by me with my voice and my face. I can also do things like add subtitles if it's an ESOL class to make it more accessible. I've included Canvas instructions by video. So if we're submitting something for the first time in a new format, or if I'm asking students to submit at home where they can't reach me right away, I've made a video tutorial so that everyone has the same instructions. I've done it for review lessons. This is just a little bit different than making a screencast only and explain everything, because when you then put it into iMovie, you can cut it, you can make it really seamless so that you can cut out some redundancies and pauses and things like that. And then another example that was really important for me this past trimester was asynchronous lessons and asynchronous instructions. I did a lot of build instructions, so it was great because I could cut together my face, my voice, I could do a demo, I could put instructions on the screen, so it was a really powerful way for me to make engaging lessons even though we were virtual. And when we think about why video is so powerful, I need you to think about the fact that for Gen Z, video is king. They can be on video from the time they wake up in the morning to the time they go to bed, and they never have to pause. They're consuming video through TikTok, YouTube, Netflix, Instagram. And so if you start to harness the power of video, you can make your lessons more powerful, more engaging, more accessible, and ultimately more relevant to our students. I would break this down into a 3-step process. The first thing you want to do is record a video clip using any device of your choice. It's great to record in as few clips as possible, because if you record 15 clips because you've stopped and started and made mistakes, then you're going to have to watch through those clips anyway. So my recommendation is that as you're recording something, if you happen to make a mistake, you just pause yourself, not the video, regain your composure and start talking again. In the long run, that's going to make for a better workflow when you have to edit your things back. Editing video is great because this is where you start to make it engaging. Some of my top tricks are as follows, and this will be linked, so you don't necessarily have to take a photo or notes if you don't want to. But the space bar is going to be your friend. That's going to start and stop the video much faster than your finger clicking can. So start, stop. Command B is a hotkey. So if you press those 2 at the same time, you're going to be able to split a clip into 2 parts, 3 parts, however many times you hit split. 2-finger pinch is the same as it is on your phone. It allows you to zoom in and out. And then I want to talk about using the peaks and valleys in audio as some useful editing cues. So right now, I'm going to change the share. Let me go ahead and share my desktop to you. And let's get some sound in there and optimize the screen. So you should be able to see my screen. Can I just have a brave person, because I can't see your faces because my video is optimized right now. Can you just tell me that you can see my desktop?
Yep, you got it.
Thank you. All right, so when you open iMovie, you're gonna have an icon on the right-hand side of your screen. You can also search for it through Spotlight. But when you open iMovie, you're gonna see an option to create a new project with a plus sign there. So you would start by creating a new movie. And then once you're here, this looks pretty intimidating. There's lots of things that you can click, and I don't know where these clips came from, and I don't know what all these buttons at the top are, but it's not that bad. From my phone, I want to airdrop the clip that I recorded earlier. I'm gonna airdrop that to my computer. I think hopefully most of us are familiar with airdrop, but it's gonna be a really quick way for you to transfer files. So once you're able to airdrop that file to yourself, you can open Finder. And once I'm in my Finder, all of my airdrops, I know that they save to downloads. Once you're on the clip that you want, you can just drag that over into your iMovie and it's there. You didn't have to move through any of the stuff at the top, click on buttons that you don't know what they mean. You just drag and drop, and here's the clip. So now we're gonna go through some of those tips and tricks. Spacebar is gonna start and stop.
Hey everyone, right now I'm on an EduSLAM.
So I can start and stop that. That actually did it in my Finder. So I'm gonna make sure that I'm clicked in iMovie and show you in there.
Hey everyone, right now I'm on an EduSLAM with some.
So spacebar starts and stops really quickly. And then the split function is Command B. I can see right around here in the middle of the clip that there's a really long pause that I had. And if this were a video I wanted to share with students, I don't want that. Everything that they're consuming is very polished, so you can cut out the pauses to make it more relevant to them. So at the start of this pause, I would click my cursor and then Command B. You can see that a split has occurred in those two clips. And then on the other side of that pause, I'm gonna click again and press Command B. And now I've taken out that pause or isolated that pause. If I click on the clip, I can see that it's highlighted in yellow, press delete, and then I'll have a seamless transition between these two clips. You can cut anything out. You can rearrange clips and drag them in different orders. So it is pretty easy to use if you know start and stop and splitting things. I want to show you the two-finger pinch. When you start to have a lot of clips in a project, it can go further. It can go off your screen. So I can zoom out just like I would on a photo. And so I can see the variety of clips that I have here. But if I want to do some editing on this clip right here, I can just zoom in, and then I start to see that clip much closer, and I can see the audio track. And the last trick that I had in there was using the peaks and valleys of the audio track to help you. If you're not sure where to cut something, you can always look for a dip in your audio, because that means it's where you're not saying something. So if you have two words that are running together, but you want to cut out one of them, you can use the audio track as a hint to do that. And let's go back into the presentation. So the last part would be to share. This can transform your teaching. I have a few ideas. I already shared some of them before. You can kind of ruminate on these. Maybe there are things in your school year that you always do, but you've never felt that it's grabbing the kids. Maybe you're someone who reviews the syllabus because that's really important to keeping students aware of what's required from them. Maybe you could make a syllabus video, or maybe you can make a greeting video on Canvas to personalize things for those first 6 weeks of virtual learning if you're a high school teacher. What I'd like you to think about for yourself is how can you, or how could you, harness the power of iMovie? If you hover your camera over the screen, you can access a Mentimeter and share some of your thoughts. This is running from the last EduSLAM that I had, so we have some previous ideas up there. If you weren't able to get the QR code, there's a URL at the top, and you can access it that way. But some ideas that you're sharing should come in live. How can you harness the power of iMovie? And I'd love to see some thoughts.
This is really cool. I was thinking about, I mean, I came in thinking more along the lines of familiarizing myself a little more for it. So when I assign it to kids and they need help, I can help them a little bit better.
Yeah.
but you give a lot to think about. It's really,
yeah, and
really
I
a lot
think
of
that
things you can do with it.
definitely, and I think that when you start to create for yourself, you are practicing more, and then you can eventually help students more. And it gives you a new lens for how to think about what students can create, but also what it takes to create a movie, and what we can expect of students. And I just think practice makes progress. I want to keep kind of highlighting that. Great, we have an idea in here. This could be a membean tutorial. I think that would be great. Also, you might have students on board in the middle of the year, several weeks later. You can just direct them to a lesson rather than having to schedule an extra help session or talk to them separately. This is great for flipping the classroom. And flipping the classroom is not a new idea, but iMovie can help you flip it better. So that will stay live if you want to keep adding some ideas. I want to encourage you that your journey can be whatever you want it to be. I think about a beginner level as just being able to trim and cut those clips, but I mentioned that trimming and cutting can help you make something more engaging. You can stay in the beginner level for as long as you want. You do not have to move past trimming and cutting clips. It's going to help your practice. But as you progress, you might start to include in-app features, subtitles, voiceover, and then an advanced level might seem like rocket science now, but it's not. You can start to app smash and combine your slides with your face. You can use picture in picture. You could include green screens if you want to kind of have a suspended state of disbelief and put yourself somewhere else, and again, make something a bit more polished. I want to encourage you to visit the Apple Teacher Learning Center. They have a lot of tutorials on their YouTube. If you type anything in, they're going to be able to give you something. And also your colleagues are a great resource. If you have any questions, I am always available by email, and I'm happy to sit with anyone in a more one-on-one capacity. But with any leftover time that we had, I wanted to answer any questions if you have them.
Ariel, you mentioned the pinch. Is that just, obviously that's just on your iPad, right?
No, it's also on your trackpad. So if you're creating on your laptop, you can pinch on your trackpad specifically.
Okay.
And then something else I want to show everyone is if you don't like the motion of the pinch, there is a slider here, and this slider is a manual zoom. I just like to share some of those tips that will get you into a really quick workflow so that everything is hotkeys and you don't have to move your hand away from the trackpad, but you can slide with that as well.
So when you cut the clip, I like that idea. I actually was working on a video for something and I kept redoing it because I didn't like the way it went, and there were several of us. That would have been so helpful. But when you cut the clip and there's that gap, you just push it close to the clip before so that there's no gap in your speech?
That's a good question. So it looks like there's a gap, but there is not a gap. It's a visual gap so that while you're editing, you know that you have made a cut. But so this gap right here is not actually a gap in time. If I were to put my cursor before it and play over the gap at my house and start, there's not any break there. So you can cut out pauses and you're just gonna have a quick transition.
Okay, cool, thank you.
If there does tend to be some other dead space, that's just something else that you can trim on the clip itself.
Ariel, what tools do you have to kind of hold your camera? It seems like it's really steady and you have it on a tripod.
Yes, because this is something that I like to do, I've gone out and got a tripod just from Amazon. However, I want to say that you don't have to do that. When I first started with iMovie, I just stacked books in my classroom and I just put my phone on the books. So I would say record on whatever is gonna get you in the door fastest. You can record clips on your actual computer itself. You can record on your phone and AirDrop, but you don't have to get a lot of equipment. And John mentioned that the video is really steady. Steadiness is great. So if anything, have steady video and just prop it up on something. And you can use the front camera if you like to see yourself. That just reduces the quality a little bit. But again, whatever gets you recording is what I recommend. If you have any additional questions and you want to stay longer, I'm happy to answer, but this is the end of our session and the slides are available on the faculty PD sheet and a recording of this is available too.
Thank you,
Thank
Ariel.
you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Yeah.
coming. See everyone.